I guess looking at the examples that Chaim gave at the start of payments and statements, errors happening, fraud happening, how can finance teams actually go away and evaluate those risks internally? Is there a methodology that they can use?
There is, and funnily enough, there's one that we created earlier. So if we could have a quick look at the slides there, please, Kasia. Yeah, so perfect. This is this is the risk matrix. There's loads and loads of different methods that people can use to evaluate risks. But this example that I'll give here is a really, really common method, and it's just using the likelihood and the impact, and then putting it onto a risk matrix to just understand what type of risks you're holding, really. So at the top left there, you can see probability of occurrence in, and we're scoring different probabilities between a 1 and a 5, and the definition to the right-hand side. Similarly, on the top right part there, so this is the impact statements, and we're scoring again a 1 to 5, and we've got definitions there. So these can be changed depending on the size of a business. We've just used very rough figures here, just saying 0 to £999 would be scored as a 1, whereas the impact 5 would be anything above £1 million. So when we look at the table at the bottom there, if we just, for an example, we thought, right, what's the likelihood of there being some sort of human error leading to a payment being wrong over the next 12 months? We could look along the bottom, along the definitions there, and we could say, look, the probability of a payment being wrong, that might just be a penny, or it could be up to £100,000. You know, I would put that roughly out of 4, so a 60 to 79% chance. And then similarly, when we're looking at the impact, so what could that go up to realistically? Let's say on this occasion, the impact would be a 3, so between 10,000 and just under £100,000. So we'd then score that. The likelihood across the bottom would be a 4, with the impact being a 3, and then that'd be a 12. Similarly there, so if we were to put the controls in place, so if we were to put something like AccessPay solutions in there, using my AccessPay, where we're looking at that risk of human error, so we have a function on there that would almost, well, it'll tell you if any mistakes have been in there. Then we could bring that back down then from the likelihood being a 60 to 79%, it might then come down to 0 to 19%. So you've basically brought your risk down from a risk scoring of 12 all the way down to roughly a 3.
Perfect. So what we're essentially saying there is you could almost do a self-assessment, as it were. So say, as we do it in AccessPay, we essentially put together a questionnaire of 4 or 5 questions, and it may be, just as Rob alluded to before, what's the likelihood that an error will be processed within a payment run within the next 12 months, or what's the likelihood that a fraudulent attempt will be made. And by filling in that self-assessment questionnaire, you can essentially map out your likelihood and your impact scores on this risk matrix. And you can essentially give yourself a comparison of, here's what it looks like today, and here's what it could look like if we were able to reduce the likelihood down by putting in further control measures, further automation to be able to help with that. So I know, Chaim, that you actually do this sometimes with clients, don't you?
Yes, we don't know the number of clients. So the larger clients tend to have somebody like Rob already within the business looking at risks and fraud anyway. But we find with the smaller customers, generally with the smaller customers, they haven't really thought about this yet, or they don't have a dedicated person to think about this. So actually working through these and these examples and these definitions with them actually gets them, really thinking and like, hang on, so we get some really solid light bulb moments where they're like, I didn't even realize that is a risk, or, there could be error in these certain situations.